and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, new way to feel good. How about artificial intelligence? Niven Narain joins us right now as the CEO of a company called Berg out of Boston. And Berg is a biotech startup that's using artificial intelligence for drug discovery and development, and has been for quite some time right now. Niven, talk to me about how this works. What happens here that AI is doing that lets people kind of walk away from the machines and let the machines do the work?
Hi, Cory. How's it going? Great to be back on. So, our platform, which was founded about 8 years ago, Cory, is really founded on a principle that biology is really complex, and for us to truly gain an understanding into disease, we really have to take an approach that brings together and embraces that complexity, to look at a patient's biology, to look at their clinical records, et cetera, and over time, those habits over time. But it's just hard for us to humanly process the amount of the data, and secondly, to remove the bias out of the process. Where the AI comes in is that one, it helps to bring that data together in a manner that is just not humanly possible. But two, it helps to make predictions that are more precise, and helps us to unravel new understandings and new knowledge, so that we could go back into our laboratories and start to develop drugs that are more precise and of a higher quality for patients.
Niven, I kind of love this, and this whole idea of AI and what it can do kind of for the healthcare industry and healthcare field. So tell me, practically, is this being put to use already, put to work already, and you're seeing an impact?
Yeah, so I'll give you guys just two examples, very quickly. Our lead drug, BPM 31510, is now just entered phase 2 trials in pancreatic cancer. And we just got it cleared by FDA to start in brain cancer. So how we're using it is that we're actually going to track these patients as before, during, and after the first few cycles of therapy. So instead of just looking at how a patient does in a traditional sense, to say, well, the patient survived 3 or 4 months, or they, here's a tumor size, et cetera, we will actually be looking at the biology of these patients over time, so that we can understand the individuals who have had a wonderful response. We can actually go back in and use AI to understand what was the makeup of in these individuals that was so responsive to this treatment. So it helps us create more precision. So when you hear the term precision medicine, this is really precision medicine in action. And the second example is in our prostate cancer markers, which we have a collaboration with the DoD, and have discovered novel biomarkers to diagnose prostate cancer more efficiently. And we're now completing our clinical trials so that we can have a test available in 2017, where individuals will be more precisely predicted to have the disease or not.
So I know every disease is different, and every treatment price can be different. But what is this sort of over-under in just determining with a precision medical drug I don't want to say this in an uncallous way, how big does a market have to be to say, hey, here is something that will help us address this particular problem, and this particular problem addresses this many people, or affects this many people, that we're willing to develop against that?
That's a really great question. From both a business and a healthcare economic perspective, even if that market, even if it's in a rare disease and there's only a few thousand patients, if you give the wrong drug to that patient, and that patient has to use 2 or 3 or 4 more drugs because of associated side effects, increased hospitalization, a loss of income, they're away from work, the total cost of treating that patient, even though it may be a smaller market size, is so explosive that it compares to treating even in a bigger market. If you're getting it more precise, I think if you look at it apples to apples, both to the insurance company and the drug developer and the providers, I think there's enough in that equation for everyone to still do well and serve patients more efficiently. So I think the precision brings to bear in the choices that we should be making as companies who develop drugs. I think, we need to think about it in those terms. If we're more efficient and we serve patients better, there's going to be enough profit.
Let me paraphrase, just going to look about 30 seconds left. What you're saying is it's not about new drug development, it's about existing drug targeting it better so that existing drug makers can actually save the healthcare system money that way.
Well, Cory, I think it's both. I think it's making the existing drugs more effective, but I think for the new generation of drugs like that are being developed at Berg and other companies, instead of developing the drug and creating a one-size-fits-all that has been the old paradigm, I think this new paradigm of looking into patients' biology first, understanding how you're different than me, is going to create a better understanding for us to define those technologies and therapeutics in a more specific way.
Very cool stuff. Niven Narain, CEO and founder of Berg, the company using artificial intelligence to help us develop precision medicine. You are listening to Bloomberg Markets on Bloomberg Radio. Cory Johnson at Cory TV on Twitter. She's at Carol Massar on Twitter. And this is Bloomberg.